And
We're
Facebook
streaming
Live.
live on Facebook, according to the little sign up there on the upper left.
And it's all four of us for once.
Yeah. Malcolm, what's our question for the day?
Oh no, he froze again.
I can't tell if he's frozen or posing.
It's a beautiful freeze for him. I love it.
Oh.
Pretty dramatic pose.
Well, the best part is we're about to have Inception, Malcolm, because we're gonna have two of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see the flags in the back.
Oh, feedback.
That's terrible.
Yeah, he was having some internet problems earlier during our cohort call.
Cool.
I do like the pose though.
And he lives in civilization.
Yeah, I don't know. Something was going on with his Wi-Fi in the building. So, who wants to try and paraphrase that question? That really intelligent question that Malcolm asked earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Malcolm,
oh, there he is! Yay!
he's back.
What do we do, or how do we manage keeping the map from getting in the way of the journey? How do we keep people's focus on the model, on the structure, on the idea from getting in the way of the execution? And Paul actually had a great kind of real world, down to earth, everybody say hi to Chad, example of the map getting in the way of the journey. Paul, you want to share it with us?
Well, if you're in any type of formal class in the martial setting for more than 5 seconds, you will hear somebody ask, "How long is it to black belt?" I just how many years or how many classes? What do I have to do? And I I will I kind of chuckle and I'm like, this is a very American question, and they're always like, "What?" I'm like, Americans always ask this question. Europeans never do for some reason, or other worldly people never do. Americans are always like, what's the timeline? How do I write it down? What's my schedule? Well, I'm going to get behind somebody else. I'm like, there's no behind. This is yours. This is no one else's. There's no ahead. There's no behind. There's no, you're going to set metrics. You're going to judge yourself against other people. That's really goddamn normal. But it doesn't actually benefit you in any way, shape, or form per se, other than if it provides you internal personal motivation because you're a competitive personality type, that can be useful, as long as you know how to direct it. So you can always go with the life's a journey, not a destination. Is that the end game? Is that the end game goal here? Yeah, Rory. Do you want me to say that, Rory? I know that quote very well.
It's a good quote. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this. How long does it take the average person to make it to black belt? And the correct answer is the average person never makes it to black belt. And it definitely sounds a little bit like cocky, arrogant, like from that position of, because truthfully, how many people in this call know that the piece of colored cloth around your waist means absolutely fuck all, right? But the point is, I think it's a perseverance point more than anything else. The willingness, if you're watch me not slam other martial arts, not an 18-month path to checking the boxes and earning a piece of darkly colored cloth, but most programs are going to put serious obstacles in your way, and life is going to contribute to that obstacle course that you're going to have to run along the way. Rory's about to say something, so
no, and that ties into the whole it's the journey, not the destination, a whole bunch of other stuff that people say, but it's not supposed to be easy. And and this goes for anyone who wants to be an instructor role. It shouldn't have been easy to get there. If it was easy to get there, one of the most fucked up things about our educational system is getting a degree in education is one of the easiest of all the stuff that's out there. At Oregon State, they considered business they referred to engineering as pre-business because all the people that flunked out of engineering went into business. The people that flunked out of business went into education. And that's, it's not true for everybody, but it's one of those, it should be hard.
It should be hard. And, there are some bastions in academia who are shifting that from the, becoming just getting through the program to be able to do student teaching or sit for state exams as a teacher are getting, some of the universities are making that tougher. Some are making it master's inclusive. Like it's a 5-year degree, end of conversation. But that's not the common threshold at this point yet. So, but yeah, it should be hard. It should be hard. And on purpose, and this is, it's probably a little shitty, but when we have, and I'm thinking about this because recently we've had a couple of our first level rank tests at the gym over the last like 6 months. I think we've had 2. And, it's the only test where I spend like 15, 20 minutes doing a briefing ahead of time because they have no idea what's coming. And they're like, wah! And, it's like, okay, breathe. And this is how it's going to go. And this is what's going to happen. And not everybody passes, which is true. Not everybody passes, even the first rank. It's not a giveaway. And, that this is how we work if you don't, and blah, 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 and all of that. And I often will give an example of like one of the tests that I failed and like, this is reality. And then I'll make a joke about like, and this is about how long today's going to go. It's going to be about, 2.5 hours, blah, blah. And, and then your next test will be a little longer and the expectations are a little higher. And over time, it's just, we're not just throwing you in the deep end, we'll get you there to where, for example, my G4 test, we started at 9 o'clock in the morning and I think we were done at about 7:30 at night. And they all go, but as a point of like in Krav, like that's not, we have these 3 ranking levels and then we have a master kind of, which is one of these moments. And getting the G4 is test number 9, so it's like, we'll get you there, but this is what, if you want to play that long, this is what you're preparing for, it's in, and then they all freak out, but it's part of it is that point of like, look, this is not, if you want the darkly colored sash, it's going to take, it is a journey. And the only way to get you to where you can sit for, an 8-hour, 9-hour testing, like you can actually physically train for that long, is to work your way up through the journey. But it's interesting to watch the faces when it starts to register that like, oh wait, wow, really? Like we don't do this little 2 hours every time it's time for a test. You mean it gets harder? Yeah.
Well, it's one of my aversions to Krav.
Here we go.
No, it's
Wait, where's my whiskey? Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay, so Krav doesn't actually mean anything, right? It's just a term for any kind of unarmed combat.
Yep, open hand combat. That's what it is.
Right.
That's
So
karate and Israeli, right?
So my first exposure to Krav was getting an email when I was still with the sheriff's office saying that they would certify me as an international instructor with 24 hours of training, no experience necessary.
That was my organization.
I've gotten those emails.
Organization's test for instructor certification is longer than this organization's class for instructor certification. So I'm sitting there looking at this meal going, oh, well, obviously Krav is bullshit, because I didn't understand that Krav was just a word that meant, and so I assumed it was all the same thing, and it wasn't. When I went to Israel, it was one of those, what do you teach? Is like jujitsu. Oh, you're a Krav instructor. Because that's all it means, is any form of unarmed combat, they will call you a Krav instructor.
Yeah, open hand. Yeah, so one of the words means hand, and the other one,
contact combat. Yeah,
contact.
Yeah. And so it's when it was sorry, Tammy, I'm talking over you. So because I'm talking about you. So the organization that Tammy came out of, her test was harder than this organization's entire class to get to the same certification. So which is more legit right there?
And I think that's the thing, maybe brings us back to this conversation of journey versus the end result, the sash or the whatever patch belt that people are asking about and looking for, is if you want the placard on the wall, you can go, if you look hard enough, you can go just about anywhere and pay for one of those. at a point. With any martial arts system, there's a to be bought that lives out there somewhere if you want to find it. And
So Jay wrote that on Facebook. A more accurate question could be, how much is it going to cost me to become a black belt?
exactly, yeah, right, 100%. So so then I get, and that begins to sift out, both sift out the people, but I think also then causes people to sift their thinking, because if they're, you guys have all been to our place over in Loudoun County, and they're, well, pre-pandemic anyway, a dojo literally in every single strip mall, and there's a strip mall in every intersection, sometimes more than one, therefore more than one, some sort of martial arts program, like literally on every street corner. And so it's the McDojo Mecca is what I call Loudoun County. Lovingly, with nothing but heartfelt, I don't know, something.
Casey's watching on Facebook, and Casey, just a heads up, I'm watching a Facebook feed myself so I can see, because everybody else were on Zoom and no one else can see it. Casey had wrote previously, wait, 24 entire hours? To which I don't think Jay knows who Casey is. Yes, sometimes tests the whole weekend. You sleep with a dojo. Jay, Casey used to live at a dojo. He did that whole thing, so he's very familiar. He's being a typical Casey sarcastic, I believe.
Yeah, so I think like in an environment like what Loudoun was, at least pre-COVID, is that it not only like in a facility like ours, it sifts people, but I think it also causes people then to go, oh, there's a different way to operate than, the 10 other places that I talked to in my drive down the one main road right through the community, which I find is useful, because sometimes people don't know that it's a journey, and I will say, attest to that to the people who just recently tested with us for their first rank, and we have lovingly, and then I mean that in all seriousness, scratched our heads as instructors, tried to figure out, like, how do we support these two? They come there's a match set, they come together, and because we've been like scratching our heads about, like, how is it that we can have so many classes and then they're still like look like newer than the newest student? What are we missing with them? And with these two realizing their family members, that it dawned on us with the testing that they have no context. Like, I forget sometimes, like, I see people they're coming in at ground floor, right? We're gonna work you up, great. That there are basement levels. I forget that there are basement levels, and these guys are coming in at, like, garage basement level 5. And we got to get you up to ground floor 1, and just they've no context for physicality, no context for what training means, and no context for what physical disciplines required to advance physical skills. And so, it's starting to, I think, come into their affordances that it's a journey, not a checkbox. And I think they authentically just had no idea that reality existed. And I don't say that pejoratively at all. They're cute. So.
Okay, we're out of time. We're about to go to the, no, not on you. We're about to go to the Patreon, and I think it's super significant that in Malcolm's question, we got to one tiny piece of one tiny facet. Yeah. And we've been running this long. So I'm looking forward to continuing this.
Just as a parenthetical note, I completely interpreted the question differently. So it was just fascinating watching you guys go off on the belts and stuff, because the thought that was in the back of my head crudely was, what happens when you can kick the instructor's ass? What then? So how does that influence, and so on and so forth? Salute to Doc, because actually he asked me the question or introduced it. And then I was like, oh, this would be a great question to talk about. So thank you, Doc, because you get to prove once again you're smarter than me. And we're going to go to our 6 p.m. call. Everybody enjoy Tammy being here, because she took time out of the day to come through. Thank you, Tammy.
Graced by the elf queen herself.
No, she rides by like this. But
That's
if you-
weird. That makes it look like your arm's not actually attached to your body.
wait, someone somewhere has like a Tammy mannequin that just goes back and forth.
No, but we could definitely sell Tammy bobbleheads.
I'm not
Don't we have to like move on now? Is
I'm
it
not
like-
touching
Yeah,
that.
for overtime. The Tammy bobblehead. We
Touching
need to make a Chiron store at one of the.
okay, wait, so- well,
Get you to
Anyway,
update
so
the website now, and let alone you got to add a store on there. I want to see this happen.
moving
It might be
right along.
moving
from
right
that
along.
Creepy idea.
Uh,
What we're gonna do is
Yeah,
we
that's
will
6
jump
people
onto the
waiting on.
6 p.m. Zoom call. All you Zoom people, we look forward to seeing you, talking to you, etc. And we'll be back here next Sunday. If you've got ideas for stuff that you'd like us to cover, we'll consider them with full recognition that we may not like the idea, but it might be amazing. So reach out, feel free, be brave, have a good one. See you next week or whenever.
I'm going to shut down the live, but Stefan wrote, I got hit in a demo by a 15-year-old student in front of class, and I was proud of her. Yeah, every time I have students hit me, Malcolm talking about like getting your students hit me, and then they're always like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Dude, high five. That was great. Don't apologize. That's the one thing you're not allowed to apologize for. You did a high five. That was awesome."
Never apologize for doing what I taught you to do.
Exactly.
Exactly.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye, Facebook.
All right, later.